Hi. So, now that we've discussed what the Great Depression and the 2008 recession are and what caused them, we can start beginning to discuss solutions. Solutions to how to prevent something like this from happening in the future. Another global scale economic crisis. Now, as we learned previously, it was a series of events that led up to the main crisis. For example, in the case of the Great Depression, it was a large industrial overproduction and a overvaluing of stocks, which led to a collapse in the market. Whereas in the case of 2008, it was lack of government oversight and big business getting too greedy with how they wanted to make profit margins. Now, I believe the best way to, well, not the best way, but one of the more efficient ways would be to make sure that this doesn't happen again by essentially observing the market for trends that existed before the market crashes of the past. So, for example, ensuring that stocks don't become too overvalued, so there isn't a large pullout which causes the market crash, or ensuring that overproduction of goods isn't as severe as it usually would be. But I mean, in the 1930s, it was fair because the World War had just ended, so of course there's going to be a large surplus. But we can ensure in a modern non-war economy that that doesn't happen a lot more easier. Now, another thing is that governments have to be held responsible for economic stability. So, for example, in 2008, a lot of the governments were overlooking some of the shadier business practices of investment firms and banks simply because, well, it made people a crap ton of money and it was a good investment for the economy and it made the US economy look better. However, things that the companies started doing, like a lot more predatory loans and high risk loans, should be observed in the future and stopped before they get too bad. And lastly, the last solution I have is that investors need to be a lot more wary of how they invest their money. So, for example, it's important to know what your money is based on. Like the real estate market in the case of 2008, people thought that it was never fail, was impossible for it to fall because they were never presented with uh, ways in which it could fail, such as what did happen with the foreclosure houses flooding the market and crashing the value. So I think it's important for investors to stay vigilant to ensure the market doesn't crash. And these are my main solutions, essentially boiling down to holding governments accountable, making sure that investors stay aware and informed, and just generally learning from the mistakes of past financial crises to ensure that we never have one that great again. And if we do, to at least be able to dampen it to an extent where it's not as damaging to the US economy and even the world economy as a whole. Thank you. Have a good day.